This weekend, of course, kicks off the big holiday shopping season. Black Friday, always a major day for retailers. It got that name because that's when they say, it pushed them into the black for the year. A huge day, obviously, historically, for hometown retailer Target, who partake in a lot of those things to lure you in. But, of course, Target's taken some hits lately. In October, they cut 1,800 positions. Earlier this month, their quarterly earnings report showed another drop in sales. Overall sales have been a bit stagnant for a few years. So we want to bring in Professor George John with the Carlson School of Management to discuss what the retail giant can do to right the ship here. They've been trying to do a lot of things to right themselves. Do we have the professor? There you are. Thanks for joining us today. This has been something that's been a discussion for the last few years, is Target has dealt with various issues, Best Buy as well, trying to do things to sort of rethink their strategy. What do you think for Target, though, is their biggest problem at the moment leading to some of these not meeting their sales expectations?
Right. I think it's a combination of the recent history since the pandemic and some missteps in Target's part. Let's not forget that during the pandemic, Target had amazing growth, largely because they and Walmart were allowed to stay open when most other stores are closed. So it's unrealistic for us to expect that they could continue on that path that they had in 21, 22, especially. But where they diverge from Walmart is that after the pandemic crisis is over, Walmart managed to keep their steady growth, and Target has not. I attribute that to some missteps and some bad luck. They've managed to alienate various constituencies of shoppers, but those are things you can overcome pretty quickly. The research tells us that things that are shocks can be overcome. I think Target's longer run problem is that they've kind of lost their way a little bit on what we used to think of Target as. Expressions like cheap chic, things like that really did express a certain brand image at Target. You got things that were a little bit more expensive than a discounters, but you got things that were fresher, more fashionable, etc. And that's what they have to kind of get back to.
Yeah, you mentioned some missteps here where, there were some issues with some of the merchandise they were offering that angered conservatives, and then they have kind of rolled back some of their DEI policies that angered liberals. I mean, these are still things that they're dealing with, and you think they will continue to deal with that backlash?
Not necessarily. I think Target's in the unenviable position having ticked off just about everybody. So I think these kinds of shocks are one-time events, and if you're a reasonably managed company, you kind of get out of it. It's a little bit like Tylenol poisoning scandals of decades ago. All these kinds of things come and hit companies, and as long as you don't continue making missteps, you can get out of it. It's much harder to get back to that, let's say, mojo that they had a few years ago, where we thought something of Target and that brand would deliver on it. That's the bigger challenge. And I think they're taking the steps to do that, but time will tell if that works.
What do you think the Amazon effect is here? Obviously, the old joke would be, you run to Target to buy one thing and you walk out with $100 worth of stuff. Is that not happening because people are maybe, their Target runs are now Amazon clicks?
Well, yes and no. I think we overestimate how much is actually bought online. If you look at the government data, even today, all online sales is only about 18 or 19% of all retail sales, okay? And just remember, retail sales is a huge number. The National Retail Federation expects that we're going to spend $1 trillion with a T dollars this holiday season. So there's a lot of money to be made if you can give people a reason to come into your store and actually convince them that what you have as merchandise is worth the price you're charging.
So in your view right now, then the kind of the long-term look at Target's health, you think they've got a path out of their recent stumbles?
Yes, I do. And when I look at, I hate to forecast because we're always wrong, but if you look at what they've done recently, they're trying to go back to some of the things they did before. They're trying to connect with exclusive collaborations with Woolrich and some of the other folks, much in the way they used to have things like dresses by Stella McCartney, which would cost $200 instead of $20,000. It was a PR exercise, and they've been very good at doing those kinds of things, and I see them going back to those kind of things.
All right. Well, there you go. And Black Friday will be always interesting. You know, they've always been among the ones that are very, very busy with a lot of things to lure people in and maybe stand in line. Professor George John at the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota, thanks for joining us. Have a good holiday and safe holiday weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.